Hey, welcome. And missed a progress report yesterday because I was a little frustrated and tired, but today we got a little bit of success to share with you. Um, we had a lot of trouble getting this floor so that we could put these blocks down. There's still a bit of chunkiness there. We had chiseled and ground, and then I had used a diamond floor grinder, which kicked up a lot of dust yesterday, and we got the boiler set more or less in place. The big concern with the customer was to make sure that there was enough clearance so that they could go by without anything sticking out, and so we got the boiler as close to the wall as we could. Um, the big progress, of course, is that we have added water to the boiler. We got our drain valve for the sight glass. We got it on a Street 45 and a hose there to go around the our equalizer return. And normally I would have liked to have mounted it this way for clearance, but this is what we got to do. I got a stainless steel 1.25 inch nipple in there, enough to get a wrench on if necessary. The pigtail comes up, and the gauge that came with, let me show it to you here. Give me a second. I put it in the box. There we go. That's what came in out of the box. So we got a good USA gauge on there that came with the old boiler, and I took care of that. Pressure control, as usual, comes set to 9 psi because I don't know why they do that, but that's the way it comes. So it's not set at the factory. Make sure you check that. We're going to drop that, of course, to the lowest possible setting. Now, we had to strip this boiler, as I think I may have mentioned in an earlier video, and so we took all this off. When we put this on, we realized that there's really no way to take this off without taking the jacket off or cutting out more holes and stuff. They should have spec'd the one that comes out a little further, but they didn't, so there's no way to really take that out easily. That's not good, but there it is. Here's our return. Got a dog leg in there to make it fit. And this is the equalizer coming down. It's full 2 inch. Actually, I think they spec for 2.5 or something crazy, but no, we're not going to do that. This is good enough. I got a stainless steel close nipple in there, and I got this old Bell & Gossett shut off there to isolate that if necessary, and a 1 inch new wet return, and we've tied that on to the old wet return. There's 1.25 inch, and we've got a stainless steel nipple there going into that cast iron. We've got a full port 1/2 inch ball valve there. This looks nice and clean. Really, I think that's galvanized, if I'm not mistaken, and that's a brass, or no, it's copper going into that galvanized, but it's still looking pretty good. So we got this plug here, so we can take the plug out and do a honey dip with a wet vac if necessary to get as much water out and much sediment out of there as we can. There's the blocks there. We got some washers on there to level it out. It's pretty stable on there. And there's the draft. Got to have this in there. You can't modify this in any way. This has to be 14 inches from the jacket to there. That's what that says. Got our, this is where the that's where the draft regulator is going to go, right in there. And as you can see, I've filled this ginormous hole with my masonry work. I'm going to let that dry overnight. This is going to be scratch that in there. So I'm going to smooth it out, and this is literally the scratch coat, and tie that in there. It's kind of a shame that all this is going to be ripped out when they reline the chimney. Another thing which we were able to do, usually they got this plug in there with that awful red dope that they love slathering on here. So by stripping this down, I was able to clean off the dope as much as possible. Put a bushing on there, and I got a drain there. This is just temporary to remind me that I need a hose end on there or some kind of unit so I can drain here if this drain has to go away or gets clogged. We got an alternate means of draining the boiler. So that looks good. Gonna run a 1/2-inch nipple here. This is just as a starting point, coupling here to 3/4, and come out here and put the gas supply here. The gas supply is going to go up and across here, tie into this ridiculously large 1.25 inch. This is, they've got a valve on the end there, which is nice. But of course, code requires a valve with a shutoff valve within 6 feet of the appliance. This is the pressure relief. That's going to go across here and down there. All right, so yes, we were able to save the header. We used a Chinese 4x3 90. There's a 3-inch nipple and a 3 by 2.5 to make a nice transition. So this should produce, so we got essentially a drop header, and we were able to repurpose that, and then there's the equalizer line tied onto there. We got this clevis here holding this end up and tied onto the beam clamp, or the beam clamp there. So we've got this gone off to that main there. I have our clevis here. I think I pointed out, had I had to do this over again, I would have cut out that 90 because I had a hell of a time dialing this in with this pitch here. But that was what was so frustrating last night. This dialed in rather nicely. Got good pitch, got good control. And with that 45 there dialed in, this caused all sorts of issues. So the only way to really make it work was to use a whole bunch of 45s. I would have preferred a regular 45 and a close nipple, but this works. And it's got a nice roll to it. Let's take a step back there and look at that header in all its glory. Thank you very much for your support in making it work. So tomorrow, we should be able to wire and fire this bad boy. And thanks again for all your comments, and see you on the next one.